guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids. I have a 5th grader, 3rd grader, and pre-K-er. Today's video, we are chatting. We are planning for next homeschool year. I have already been getting a ton of questions like, what curriculum are you using next year? And it's January. We start our new school year in July, so we'll say like 5 months, 6 months, until we start. Being a content creator, I think adds a level of pressure because I want to share stuff early because I know you all are going to be shopping. So I think I start even earlier than the traditional homeschool mom, but also I think even if I wasn't a content creator, I would still be doing this. So with all that being said, today we are talking. I have 3 kids. I need to figure out I need to talk through what my thoughts are for next year, things that are changing in our homeschool, like what dynamics are happening, like what is going to be the best choice for us in choosing curriculum, and my reasoning behind why I end up choosing certain curriculum. So that's what we're doing in this video. In the next coming months is where I will do my official grade level curriculum reviews. This video is me talking it out, sharing what I need, what I want, and that's what we're going with. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. Please help my channel grow, reach other homeschool families, as well as when you're subscribed, you won't miss out when I post curriculum videos. Let's talk about what our next year homeschool looks like. I will have a 6th grader, so that means I'm officially going to have a child entering middle school, and I will have a upper elementary student. I will have a 4th grader. So I will have 2 students who are definitely on the older level. Plus my girls are very independent. They have always been very independent. So I think independence comes with age, but they're also just independent in general. So that is going to play a lot into the curriculum. And then my son will be going into kindergarten. And that's a whole other level because I did not homeschool either of my daughters their kindergarten year. So this is my first year homeschooling kindergarten solely. My middle daughter, that was her kindergarten year was during the whole 2020 thing. So she was home. It was just, it was a mess. So I just feel like I have a lot of changes next year compared to my previous years. My girls used to do a lot of subjects together, and at the point they are now, I feel like they need to be separated. My oldest daughter wants more challenging work, and my middle daughter likes challenging work too, but she doesn't need to be pressured to meet the same level as her older sister. They're both extremely smart. They both love different subjects, and they enjoy doing schoolwork, but it has come the time where I have to separate them out. So that does put a couple subjects like science, history, and language arts, where we're kind of doing a lot of that together right now, where we're pretty much doing all of that together right now. Those are all going to be separated. I don't think my kindergartner and 4th grader can be combined. They're too far apart. And so I am really entering into a season where I have 3 kids who will all be needing individual curriculum plans. Well, I'm also a full-time working mom. I do work from home most of the time unless I'm traveling for work, but I don't have hours a day to spend homeschooling. I work during the day. I do work a pretty good schedule. I start work around 6 a.m. and I'm done by about 3 p.m. So there are times where we do school at 3 p.m. and that's completely fine. It's still, I think, early enough in the day we're not all exhausted. I have a little bit of flexibility where I can, do some school on a lunch break. I can step away for 15 minutes, get them set up. And like I said, they're very independent already. So it's fine and it's working for like how we're doing school now. But basically what we're doing now is now going 2 times by 3. So that means more time, more attention, unless I find curriculum or things that can support best. So you have to understand my unique situation. I always get asked like, what curriculum do you think I should use from like someone specific? And I can't tell you that answer. I share what we use and why we use it because of my dynamic of my home, of my job, of my kids. I have 2 independent kids. I have, you know, an older kids, and I have a, you know, a younger kid, but I don't have a baby. I don't have a toddler. And also I have limited hours. I do work. And so my choices are made for those reasons. My choices are not just solely on what is like the best curriculum out there, which doesn't exist, but I choose curriculum more for convenience, for supporting me, if that makes sense. So I shy away from curriculum that is super teacher intensive. I just can't do that. It just does not work well in our home. So that's my spiel. This is why I share on here. I share why I like what it works, what it does for our home. And so I'm sorry if I don't ever respond to you on what curriculum you should use. It's because I really don't know. Unless I knew like your entire life and schedule, I can't tell you what to use. So we need to separate all of our curriculum. I have limited time, so those 2 things are like at odds with each other. I have tried tons of curriculum over the years. I've reviewed a ton of curriculum. So I always start like what is easy. So, and I'm looking at my computer screen. I have our entire homeschool life planned out, which means every single one of my kids has an Excel sheet for every single grade, for every single subject, from kindergarten to 12th grade. I will be sharing a video on that, which is like long-term planning, but that's what I'm looking at because it keeps me on track, like subject wise. So for math, let's get the easy one, semi-easy, out of the way. We have been using Saxon Math with Nicole the math lady for my 2 older daughters for the past 2 years, and it works. Saxon Math, the way that the lessons go, the way that the review happens, it's just working for all of us. And I pair that with Nicole the math lady. So Nicole the math lady is like an online resource. Nicole, she teaches every Saxon lesson. So she makes a video for a specific lesson, the kids watch it, and then they complete their activities. That has just basically taken math off my plate. I help them if they keep getting an answer wrong and they can't figure it out. I have like the teacher's guide to help them through that, but math is pretty much independent. So that is not changing for my 2 older daughters. Now, I don't like Saxon for younger kids, and I also would not expect my kindergartner to log on and watch video lessons. I don't think kindergarten, even 1st grade, are suitable for that type of learning style. I mean, my son does watch some videos, but not to just be completely independent. It's just not the right time. And Saxon is very black and white and boring, and I think the littler kids need a little bit more excitement. So for my son, he has been dabbling in Math with Confidence kindergarten, and it's okay, but because it's like a separate teacher guide and a separate student guide, and the teacher's guide is just a lot, I don't always have the time or patience to sit there and go through it all while he's waiting and then he's getting frustrated. So that one we just tend to like not pick up. I did purchase the Good and the Beautiful's Math K. I have not used their Math K level. I have used their Math 1, 2, 3, and 4. I did like Math 1 and 2. And so I hope that kindergarten math may be the winner. I bought it like a month ago and it's just been sitting in the box. I haven't even opened it up or looked at it yet. So we'll be testing out some of that too. So that's kind of like where I'm feeling with math. Yeah, that's my mindset for math. I don't think there's anything else there. English language arts. So we already use like a ton of resources. Currently, we use IEW Structure and Style Level A1. We use Beowulf Grammar. We use Word Roots, and we use Moving Beyond the Page units, reading units. We should be finishing up all of those. Well, like the IEW Structure and Style, the Beowulf Grammar. I really want to complete those this year. They have been great programs. Obviously, Beowulf Grammar, I share about that all the time. I honestly think that is like one of the only like all-encompassing grammar programs where it really teaches all the grammar skills like from the bottom up. There are a lot of grammar programs I hear about, like Fix It Grammar. oh, there was some, oh, even like moving beyond the page, where if your child doesn't have like a basic understanding of grammar, those are not going to work for them. Those are great to like reinforce and practice, but I stand by Beowulf grammar. Like, it just teaches everything. It teaches at a basic level, it builds on it, and it just like builds like such a solid foundation. So I'll get off my soapbox about Beowulf grammar, but it really is awesome. But with that being said, we're most likely going to be finishing it this year, and there's no reason for us to just jump back in and repeat it next year. You totally can repeat that curriculum, but we're not going to do that. So that leaves me with like, do we need a grammar curriculum? What does that look like? I was actually online shopping on Rainbow Resources. I was looking at handwriting, which we'll talk about in a minute. We currently use Zaner Blosser handwriting, and Zaner Blosser has a grammar like workbook for grade specific, and I was like, oh, that could be interesting. So like, that is an option. I was looking at EIW, Essentials in Writing, and like their year-long course for a grade has both grammar and writing combined. IEW has Fix It Grammar, and so I don't know, like, I want my kids to like continue on, you know, remembering these skills, but I want to find something that works. Now, we also use Moving Beyond the Page, and I have just really enjoyed Moving Beyond the Page this year, and so have my kids, to a point to where it's going to be a very big part of our next year's curriculum. And so I'm also like, okay, do we even need a grammar then? Like, would that just be enough to cover grammar? And I mean, their language arts units are constantly reviewing grammar things, so I'm kind of going back with all of that. If we want to talk about like writing, like IEW, I have like this like, I don't want to say love and hate, because I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's fine. Like, it works. And I've said this in another video, my kids can write great papers when they are following the IEW process. I understand the process. I always get comments where it's like, you don't understand what they're doing, you need to go through the teacher's course. I did go through the teacher's course. I understand what they're doing. What I'm saying is, yeah, my kids write great when they are told exactly what to do from the curriculum. What I don't love about it is I don't feel like they get enough like free writing. And I know there's like units where there's more creative free type writing. So I don't know. I go back and forth on it. Also, those videos are super long. They just are. You watch them over 2 parts, but normally part 1 is like 40 minutes and then part 2 is like 20 minutes. That's a long video, and a lot of the video honestly is like, and the teacher's funny, and like he's really interactive with the kids in the videos, like in the classroom, which I get. He's like really there, they're really there, but then he's like reading their work, and so we're spending 20 minutes like kind of just like like by ourselves. Like, my kids aren't that entertained by that at this point. So the videos are very long. The process has become so repetitive to where, and just so systematic. Like, and I get it. I get why you need to have an ly adverb in every paragraph. The dress ups is what they're called. So there's these things that are required in every paragraph, a who, which clause, a because clause. But honestly, I read books all the time. Those, like, that's not how real writing ends up being. Like, it's not that systematic. So it served a great purpose. It served a great purpose. I love reading my kids' papers. I enjoy seeing when we started, you know, a year and a half ago to now, but I just don't know if we want to continue on with that program. The thing that kind of sucks about that is that program would take us through high school, and so I'm always long-term planning, like, is this curriculum something we could use throughout our entire school year? Is there, you know, is it equivalent to like a high school level course? And IEW does have that, and so there's part of me, it's like, just stick with it. This will be great in the high school years. So there's that. Word roots, I absolutely love. Those are just like 5-10 minute, like, let's start our day. We're on the beginning level now. I'll probably get level 1. It's just a workbook. It really just introduces new roots and prefixes and suffixes. It's a really unique way to teach vocabulary, spelling, kind of just like complex like thinking and problem solving, because you're going to experience a lot of words you don't just know. And so if you can break apart the word, I've seen my kids use it in practice, and so I think that's great. But again, it's just a super easy workbook a couple pages. So that is something we'll probably keep. Moving beyond the page, like I said, I do believe that's going to be a very large part of our homeschool year next year. I actually have purchased the entire Moving Beyond the Page 6th grade level for my 6th grade daughter, and I do have some of the 4th grade level as well. I have been looking, like I said, in EIW Essentials in Writing. One, because it has grammar and writing. There's video lessons, but I've heard that the video lessons are very short, 10-15 minutes. And then for my oldest daughter, my 6th grader, there is a grading service you can purchase where she will actually submit her work, her papers, to a teacher that grades them. And I've shared this before, but my oldest daughter, you know, she doesn't always love when I tell her she's wrong, especially if she thinks she's right. And so it is sometimes hard for me to critique her writing and, you know, kind of show her where it's wrong. And so I really kind of like having the ability to put that on someone else's plate. Like, you grade her, you tell her she's wrong, and then I'll be there to help her to fix it. So I do like that aspect of it, and Essentials in Writing does go through high school. So that would like fill that void for me where it's like we could just consistently use it. I love that I found that with Saxon, where I'm just like, I just know this is what we're gonna use. Like, I just know this is gonna be it for, you know, the rest of our school year, and it goes all the way through high school. So I just like want something like that for at least a portion of our language arts. So there's language arts. Science. So this year we have been using Apologia's Science. We've been using their Earth Science. Their Young Explorers, I think, is what it's called. So there's a bunch of different science curriculums in that, and it's for grades 1 through 6. So it worked because my 3rd and 5th grader could do it together. It was very activity heavy. We are getting a little burnt out because it's just one topic. So like, we're learning all about earth science. It's hard for us because last year we were very unit set. Well, the last 2 or 3 years of our homeschool had been very unit study heavy for science. So we would spend a few weeks on one subject, go super in depth, but then we would switch to another subject. Earth Science, it's just like one long thing, and they do go very in depth on stuff, and it does kind of just seem like a lot sometimes, and the activities aren't super balanced. And so where the activities like would kind of get us through the lesson, when there's not like a good activity, it's kind of like we're just reading and reading and reading, and it's a lot. And I just don't see us doing 2 separate Apologia levels next year. I don't know. So I do like Apologia. I'm not going to share, but I do know what they're releasing this year, like one of their new units that they're releasing, and I think my middle daughter would like it. So I'm like, okay, maybe my middle daughter will just do Apologia by herself. Again, I bought the Moving Beyond the Page entire 6th grade level, so that means science would be in there. So I'm like, my older daughter will do that. And what's good about Moving Beyond the Page's 6th grade level is it's independent. It's written towards the student. So she will be able to independently, at least for the most part, work through that. But then I go back and forth, and I'm like, well, then should I just have my 4th grader do, you know, Moving Beyond the Page science, or should I do something else? I asked on my Instagram for a bunch of recommendations on science, which I'm going to do my own video on science. I'm going to share like all the curriculums and like my thoughts on all of them. This is like personally like what I'm thinking. Something I was looking at and multiple people recommended was BJU science, because I think BJU produces like top tier curriculum. I really do. They put a lot of effort and resources into curating their curriculum, but it is a lot. I think there's like 180 lessons. If you go the teacher route, like where you teach it, it's insane. But they do have like the science, I think it's called like distance learning, where your child logs on and there's a teacher teaching them the lesson and doing the experiments with them. And it's really freaking cool, but it's like really expensive. So, and I know my 4th grader would love that. I really do. I think she would enjoy doing all the science things, going on, listening to that teacher and getting it all done. So that is definitely a contender. It would just be a pricey contender. And it's 180 lessons. And we don't school for that long. There's no way. There's no way we would be able to get through all those lessons. So that's also something I have to consider. Then maybe like, would I split that between 2 years? I don't know. So that's science. My kindergartner, oh, I didn't even talk about my kindergartner for language arts. Kindergartner for language arts, I bought The Good and the Beautiful language arts level K. I'm pretty positive we're gonna love it and that's gonna work great. So I'm pretty set on that. For him, for science, I am trying out Sunlight's kindergarten science. He loved all the little science books in their preschool like unit, and it's super simple. There's little fun activities. They also do have video lessons too. Not that again I would make him be independent, but it could just be something we watch together to kind of like help. So his science I think is settled. Social studies this year, what are we doing for so this year was a mess with social studies. I just had like a hard time getting into what we were gonna use and like stick with. Right now we are wrapping up Gather Round's US History 2. Last year we did number 1. This year we're doing number 2. I do like it, but it is a lot, like it's just really unbalanced. There's like 4 pages for you, the teacher, to read, and then your kids have like 2 pages to complete. I just wish it was broken up better. Like I wish there was like, you know, I read a page and then they complete the activity. Then I read a page. It's just like a lot, I feel like, on me. So again, my oldest daughter, I bought Moving Beyond the Page 6th grade, which has social studies, which I want to say she goes into like the Civil War and both World Wars is what like that social studies year would be teaching her. And it's independent. So that's really cool. My 4th grader, we have talked about it. And again, do I just do Moving Beyond the Page with her too? Maybe, but 4th grade's not independent from Beyond the Page. So if I choose Moving Beyond the Page for her, it means again, I'm teaching all those subjects. The other option is she loves the Tuttle Twins history book. We've read through most of the volume 1. We may just read volume 2 with her. Honestly, she could just read that on her own. They're easy enough to read. She absolutely loves those stories. That just may be something that she does. So that's where we're at with social studies. Nothing for my son. I want to say The Good and the Beautiful probably has some like geography and stuff in their level 1. They normally have geography in their language arts units. I don't have anything specifically planned out for him. Foreign language is something we did so well last school year, and we have sucked at it this year. We haven't even done it. I don't know how we went from just like being amazing at it and like my kids loving their foreign languages, like doing them daily, to like we don't even know anymore. So my oldest daughter was learning ASL, American Sign Language. My middle daughter was learning Spanish, and they both were really great at their languages. But something I discovered quite quickly is I think the best way to learn a language and continue that knowledge of a language is having someone to converse with. And so they're learning 2 separate languages. I am not learning either of those languages. Like I know enough in Spanish to get by, and I know enough in American Sign Language to get by, but I'm not studying with them. And so I did sit them both down and be like, hey, I think to be like the most beneficial, like if you were both learning the same language, you could like practice and like conversate with each other. And they both agreed. And so I do think Spanish is what we all decided on as like what would probably be the best option. My oldest daughter, she some of the career choices she has in mind, Spanish I think would be pretty helpful. But then I also think American Sign Language is super helpful. So they're gonna decide, but we'll see. We'll see about that one. I think that's it. I'm looking at like electives and PE that gets handled through our co-op, so not super worried about that. It was really those core subjects. So again, it's kind of like a language arts for my older 2. It's science for sure and social studies, which are, you know, like the core things, like what is going to work best and support us best. You know, do I outsource science for my 4th grader? Is BJU the best way to do that? I also like already have limited time, but I also am starting to travel monthly for work, and so that's just like less time that I have. And so I want to make sure the time I am spending with them is like for the right reasons. I still like to do like random unit studies, just random like things that we do. And so any support I can get by outsourcing is definitely what I'm looking at. So outsourcing, using Nicole the Math Lady in Saxon, Essentials in Writing, that grading service, BJU Science. Like if I was using all those things, that would definitely take a lot off plate. So that's where we're at. I meant for this to be like a very open conversation. So I would love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. You know, are you going through some of the similar things I'm going through? Do you have any recommendations of things that I haven't talked about on here? Also, just I'm pretty balanced when it comes to using religious versus secular curriculum. We use everything because I teach my kids everything. They know all viewpoints, all opinions, all history of it, and so there's really not an issue too much with what curriculum we use in that stance, because understand the different points and different teaching aspects of it. So I know I throw people off because they're like, you've used a secular science and a religious science. What's going on there? We like to mix it up around here. So anyways, thanks for making it through this video. It was long and it was chatty, but I appreciate it. I think you are all going through some of the similar thought processes. This was great for me to just blabber and get all of my thoughts out, and I'm going to start really digging in, sharing a lot. So like I said, I know for sure, like one of my next videos is I'm going to be talking about like all the science curriculums that people recommended to me. We had like Science Shepherd, Apologia, The Good and the Beautiful, BJU, a couple other ones. So we're going to look at them all. I'm going to talk about if I've used them, my thoughts, why or why not I probably won't use it or will use it, and so we're going. So thanks so much for sticking around. Have a wonderful day, guys, and we'll chat soon. Bye.